Hello everyone, Randall Thor here. It is currently Saturday morning, the 21st of June, 2025. Another densely foggy morning. We're getting up to upper 80s, around 90 degrees today. That's about 30 Fahrenheit. That's Celsius. 30. Wish it were 30 Fahrenheit. 30 Celsius. And that's pretty much the weather today. Lots of golden sunshine all along the way. It's going to be hot, sunny, no chance of rain. The next chance of rain there's not really any rain in the forecast. Maybe long range forecast next weekend, a week from now. That's about it. Welcome to the solstice. Today's the longest day of the year. We are now in the longest stretch of daylight for the year. For the northern hemisphere, that is. Longest stretch of daylight, nighttime for the southern hemisphere, specifically Antarctica. So, hello winter, hello summer, whatever hemisphere you are on, northern or southern or northern, respectively to how I said those. So today, one main thing to talk about today being the day after. So yesterday, I didn't realize I didn't remember at the time I was recording this yesterday, but yesterday was the 16th anniversary of a YouTube series called Marble Hornets. One that is very, very important to me. Not just the fact that I'm a huge fan of Marble Hornets. If you've not heard of Marble Hornets, you're watching this on YouTube, you can go and search for it on YouTube. Marble Hornets. It's a series that was posted on YouTube back when YouTube was in its relative infancy. Started back in 2009, 16 years ago. So back when no one was really doing serialized narratives on YouTube. YouTube was just where you went to post that silly video, that silly cat video you would just post it or whatever. But then one weekend, this guy on the Something Awful forums posted some photoshopped images in which he created the Slender Man creature, entity, meme. And immediately, a couple guys over at Alabama State University, Joseph Delage and Troy Wagner, saw this and thought, well, people are doing image edits, but no one's doing videos. We could do some creepy videos with this idea. So they started this series where the premise was that there were these two college film students, Jay and Alex Crayley, and Jay and Alex Crayley was working on a student film project called Marble Hornets. But as production went on, I hear a noise like an engine. Don't know if it's... No, it's not something I should be concerned about. But as the production went on, Alex became more and more paranoid, acting more and more strange, until finally he abandoned the project and gave Jay all the tapes from the project, and told Jay he could have the tapes but burn them. And then Alex disappeared. So the story takes place a couple years later, when Jay just gets around to realizing, hey, he's got all these tapes and maybe he should investigate how and why his friend Alex disappeared. So season 1 of Marble Hornets is Jay going through all the tapes and trying to find clues as to what happened with Alex, why he disappeared. That's the overall premise of this, and what Jay learns along the way, and that there's some sort of supernatural entity called the Operator involved. So that's Marble Hornets. It lasted for, I say, 3 seasons. 82 entries. Each main series video was called an entry, aside from the introduction video. And then there was a side channel called To The Ark, which posted cryptic replies to Marble Hornets entries. See, back in the day, the whole reason To the Ark happened in the first place was because YouTube, at one point in its early years, had this feature where you could post not just comments on videos, but you could post video replies to videos, and that's what sparked To the Ark as this cryptic entity that was posting cryptic responses to entries. And there were puzzles for viewers to solve there. So, one term that gets bandied about a lot with stuff like this is ARGs, ARGs, alternate reality games. Marble Hornets was never meant to be an ARG. Sure, there were puzzles for viewers to solve in the To the Ark videos, but the whole point of an ARG is that the story advances based on viewer interaction, viewers solving puzzles and finding clues and finding answers elsewhere, and that affects and it interacts with and advances the story. Marble Hornets was not an ARG, never an ARG. Sure, it played with the audience, but that didn't affect or advance the story in any way. All of this to say, yesterday marked 16 years since introduction and entry number 1 were posted on YouTube, on the Marble Hornets channel. And I posted this huge thread on Mastodon yesterday. You can check my account there and read the 15 post thread where I recount my history with Marble Hornets and the Marble Operator podcast. There's a lot that I didn't go into. Like, we were able to one of the other series that we covered when Marble Hornets was, we were waiting for new entries, new To the Ark videos, whatever. We would cover other series, and when one series we covered was Dark Harvest. And one really cool thing with that is that we became friends with the creator, with the creators of and the crew behind Dark Harvest. We became friends with all those guys, and because we were fans of their series, and in turn they were fans of the Marble Operator podcast, and we even had the creator of Dark Harvest, Chris, on an episode to interview him. And that was really cool, where he gave us a lot of insight about the background of the series, where he planned to go with the series, and just different ideas involved with the series. So that was really cool. Now, the downside to Marble Operator podcast is that there's this idea online, this concept online of lost media, things that are inaccessible. Well, my time online has resulted in a lot of lost media, given how I store data and not store data. Well, I tend to store all my podcasts originally only on TalkShoe, but then TalkShoe was sold at one point, and the servers were wiped, and I didn't know, no one told me that the servers were wiped. The only way I learned that TalkShoe's servers were wiped was when listeners of the podcast started emailing me and telling me, we can't download the episodes anymore. We're getting errors. We can't download the episodes. What's going on? So I looked into it, and TalkShoe had wiped the servers. So that led me to scramble and try to make sure that I had everything stored locally. And there were a lot of Marble Operator episodes that I did not have stored in my backup drive, or they were on a backup drive that I no longer had access to. So possibly, all these lost episodes still exist for me, but there is a backup drive that I literally, technically, physically cannot access because it has one of those weird USB connectors that few devices ever used, and the actual connector part of it broke off, so I can't plug anything into it, and I can't open the case to try to access maybe somehow otherwise access the hard drive, because there are no ports. There were no other ports other than a AC adapter on the case of that external hard drive. So that external hard drive is literally just a brick. There's tons of old podcasts, Rat Project, Friday Night Trivia, Marble Operator, that are just stuck on that dead hard drive. Wow, I've gone 10 minutes on this. Anyway, Marble Hornets, I loved watching. I loved the community that grew around Marble Operator Podcast. I miss my co-hosts, everyone. I could start listing names, but I'll forget names. Abby, John, Erica. I still talk with Ryan and Logan, so I still talk with them. John, Abby, Caitlin, Katie, and this is where Erica, and this is where I'm going to start forgetting people and feel bad about it. And there are people who hung out in text chat when we recorded on Skype and not on audio. But I miss all those people. I love the fan community that has grown up around Marble Hornets in the years after. The fact that it's such an LGBTQ plus friendly community is awesome. Like, really cool. I love that. And yesterday there was a big 16th anniversary stream on Twitch, which involved which involved Troy and Joe. I don't know if Tim ever showed up. I don't know if Tim ever showed up, but Troy and Joseph were there. There were several Q&A sessions. They watched pretty much the entire series, including To the Ark responses. And there was a big announcement coming up in August. I mean, this was part of the Kickstarter rewards for the book that's being written about Troy and Joseph right now. Is that one of the Kickstarter backer rewards is there's going to be a spin-off series called Roswood, and the trailer for that was released yesterday. The trailer, like a sort of in-universe movie called Alex in the Real World, REEL, as in movie reels. Anyway, I've gone on for 12 minutes. Bring this to an end. Love Marble Hornets. Happy 16th birthday to Marble Hornets. I could talk for hours about this. Let's bring this to a close with a poem. I could talk for hours about Marble Hornets and my memories of that, both good and bad, about the Slenderman community. If you saw my thread on Masto, you can get a hint for nothing bad about Marble Hornets, I should stress, but about other Slenderman series. They're working the field up there, by the way. Poem for today: A Place for Everything by Lewis Jenkins. It's so easy to lose track of things. A screwdriver, for instance. Where did I put that? I had it in my hand just a moment ago. You wander vaguely from room to room, having forgotten by now what you were looking for, staring into the refrigerator, the bathroom mirror. I could really use a shave. Some objects seem to disappear immediately, while others never want to leave. Here's a small black plastic gizmo with a serious demeanor that turns up regularly like a politician at public functions. It seems to be an integral part, a kind of switch with screw holes so that it can be attached to something larger. Nobody knows what. This thing's use has been forgotten, but it looks so important that no one is willing to throw it in the trash. It survives by bluff, like certain insects that escape being eaten because of their formidable appearance. My father owned a large, three-bladed brass propeller that he saved for years. Its worth was obvious. It was just that it lacked an immediate application, since we didn't own a boat and lived hundreds of miles from any large bodies of water. The propeller survived all purges and cleanings, living like royalty, a life of lonely privilege, mounted high on the garage wall. That was A Place for Everything by Lewis Jenkins, bringing an end to today's daily weather report. Everyone, be well, be kind to each other, be good, keep in touch. Randall Thor, good day.